Today, we become legends.
Hey, my name's Inter, welcome back to the channel. Today we have 11.8 bonus update notes to go over. Just gonna be a small balance patch to bring some things back into line, give a few buffs to underperformers, that kind of stuff. It's a pretty small patch, so it shouldn't take long, but let's jump right in. So first up, Bumper Spear, they have removed the bonus structure damage from the passive. And yeah, this is mainly because a lot of people were split pushing with it. You know, we've seen, I mean, even like in fragments of the past, we've seen like Cyclone building this on like when SPL was still a thing, Cyclone building Bumper Spear on Freya, and that's probably a decent portion of why he did that. Yeah, bonus structure damage is actually pretty important in terms of taking down towers in the late game. So yeah, they've removed that. Not going to be as viable as like an annoying split push option now, which I'm all for. Split pushing is annoying, so I'm fine with this. Next up is Horrific Emblem. They have decreased the duration by 1 second and also removed the ability to remove active shields. So yeah, when the relic system was crunched down, Horrific Emblem kind of got Cursed Ank's effect of being able to remove shields. It's no longer going to have that now, and it's also going to last 1 less second, and this changes for all ranks of the relic. This makes total sense. This relic has been by far the best option for supports for a long time, at least a year, maybe 2 years, honestly. No one really goes shell. People sometimes go sprint only to counter this. Really, this was just your best option for supports always. So yeah, seeing this nerf makes sense. Maybe we'll start to see shell picked up a little bit more, or like other utility relics that you might want and support in first slot. Next up, Vamana, they have bug fixed him. Rank 5 of his 3 now properly has the increased projectile speed. That's funny, dude. So you have a rank 4 and then it slows down when you hit rank 5, so yeah, bug fix on that. Moving into some nerfs though, we have Bacchus, who they have decreased the damage on his belly flop and Belch of the Gods by a little bit. 10 at all ranks on belly flop and 5 per tick at all ranks on Belch of the Gods. Obviously Bacchus has been really strong. The Horrific Emblem will also nerf him a lot because he's a very good user of that, very good at just kind of getting in on people, cursing them and just beating them down. But yeah, taking a little bit of damage off the top as well, perfectly fine. Bacchus has been a very strong support for a long time, so good to see him nerfed. Danzaburo, they have decreased the damage scaling on Full Gold by 5%, and then they have also increased the cooldown of his ultimate by 10 seconds. So this one, I don't really know where this is coming from. Is Danza really good? ADC mins, let me know in the comments, but I feel like he's decent, he's pretty good, but I don't think he's like, you know, top priority, needs immediate nerfs. There are other characters I would look at before I'll be nerfing Danza in like an emergency bonus balance. I don't really feel like he's that insane, but he is getting some nerfs. They're relatively small. Mainly this ultimate cooldown increase by 10 seconds will be the main thing that affects him here, obviously. And honestly, this ultimate doesn't really feel like it needs to be on 100 seconds. This feels like a 90-second ult. You know, it's good. It's nothing completely insane, so I think 90 seconds will be fine for it. But yeah, Danza's been nerfed. I don't really understand why. If you have any more info to enlighten me with ADC meds, let me know in the comments. Is Danza actually like super broken? Moving into some buffs though, Yamoja, they have decreased the Omi level gates from 6, 11, 16 to 5, 10, 15, so you're going to get access to your larger amounts of Omi a little bit quicker. They have increased the damage on Bouncing Bubble by 5 at all ranks, and then they have increased the damage on Moonstrike by 5 at all ranks, and 5 also on the outer damage, so yeah, basically 5 at all ranks. So this is relatively impactful, you know, being able to get that extra Omi, especially at level 5 when you've got your ultimate. You've also got that extra Omi for when you do your ultimate combo and stuff like that. That is going to be relevant. These buffs are kind of nothing. It's just 5 base damage. It's not really going to change anything. But to be honest, I'm fine with them not over buffing Yamoja because I think she is still an incredible character. I think she is still one of the better supports in the game, even though she is performing incredibly badly. That is just because she's the hardest god in the game, straight up. So if you're going to be playing the hardest god in the game, you better be damn good at her or you're going to perform really badly, and that's probably what drags her win rates down. You know, even in like Diamond and Masters, there'll be a lot of people that don't know how to play Yamoja super effectively. And they say here, yeah, one of the least popular and least winning Guardians of the bunch. It talks about win rate. She's least popular because, one, she's very hard to play, and people generally tend away from hard to play characters, unless they're a dedicated main of them. You know, it's very easy to just pick up a side character if they're super easy to play. You know, it's very easy to just pick up like Hercules or something. I mean, Hercules is incredibly easy to play, but it's pretty easy to play. It's very easy to just like pick up a Hercules as a secondary or whatever and just play him and do really well. But Yamoja, you really have to dedicate a lot of time to her, and people generally aren't willing to do that. And also because SPL is gone. You know, a lot of the reason why Yamoja saw a lot of play is because she was very popular in SPL. People could learn how to play her from watching SPL, and they would see that she is performing really well there, and they were like, oh, there must be something to this character, let me try and learn her. And now that SPL's gone, you don't really see that anymore. You still get, you know, like Grandmaster streamers and YouTubers and stuff playing her, but honestly not as much. So yeah, basically TLDR, SPL effect. Yamoja has fallen off for that reason, pretty much, just getting some buffs, which I'm fine with. Ishtar, they have decreased the cooldown of Rolling Thunder. It's now scales down to 13 seconds instead of 15 at all ranks. They have increased the arrow damage on Jolt by 10% of basic attack power, and increased the damage scaling on Blades by 5% each as well. Again, maybe I'm just blind to the ADC role, which definitely could be the case. It's my worst role. I don't exactly play it very often, but I feel like Ishtar's fine, dude. Ishtar is not really one of the ADCs I would be particularly looking at for like major buffs or anything, especially not in a bonus balance. Like, bonus balance is generally like stuff that needs addressing immediately before the next main patch. Like, I don't think this needed addressing immediately. I think Ishtar's absolutely fine. And I really don't want to go back to a meta where Ishtar is the dominant ADC, because she is a pain in the ass to play against, and she was also insanely strong for like an entire year until she got some nerfs and fell off. I don't really want to just go back to Ishtar meta, but these buffs are relatively small. The Rolling Thunder change is pretty nice, but a little bit of extra damage on this kind of stuff isn't really going to matter all too much. But yeah, I'm not necessarily completely opposed to buffs for Ishtar. I don't think she's amazing right now, but I also don't think she's like the worst ADC in the game, which is, you would think she was if she's like the only ADC here getting buffs, right? Moving on, we have Tiamat. They have increased the damage scaling on her flying stance 1 by 5%, increased the damage scaling by 5% on her ground stance 1 as well, and ground stance 2, 5% scaling as well. Tiamat, again, it's a little bit of your Moja syndrome, but to like a much lesser extent. Tiamat is very hard to play, and so generally her win rate is lower, especially in lower ranks, but you know, even as you're getting up towards Diamond and even Masters, sometimes you get Tiamats that don't fully know how to play her. So yeah, I don't really think Tiamat needs buffs. I think she is pretty good at the moment anyway, but it's 5% scaling on some of her abilities. It's not going to make a major impact, really, so it's fine. My man, another god that I do not think needs buffs, dude. Another god that is relatively hard to play. She's not immensely hard to play. She's no Tiamat or Umoja or anything, but she is one of the harder, like, I guess mages, but sort of assassins as well. One of the harder assassin mages to play. But honestly, this character can do an absolute ton of work when you play her right, so I don't really think she needs buffs, but they've decreased the cooldown of Madame Fangs, so it's now 11 at all ranks instead of 13 down to a level, and then they have increased the damage of her ultimate by 30 in the early ranks, scaling down to just a buff of 10 in the later ranks. So again, not honestly massive buffs. Madame Fangs is only going to affect the early game, or like the early to mid game, I guess, because you level this ability second. And then yeah, a little bit of damage on her ultimate isn't really going to make all that much of a difference. I just don't really think my man needs buffs at the moment. Amaterasu is a god that probably could use some buffs though. They have decreased the cooldown of Heavenly Reflection from 12 at all ranks. It's now 12 scaling down to 10. That is a pretty big buff. Obviously, you level this ability first, so you're going to get a lot of value out of this like immediately. You know, as soon as you get to like level 9, you're going to have full value out of this change. And it's definitely going to help out with her wave clear, which is a little weak compared to a lot of what's currently in the meta. It's also going to help out with her poke in general, just having this up more often. It also gives you a bit of damage mitigation, so you'll take a little bit less damage and all that kind of stuff. This is a very important ability for Amaterasu, and being on a 10-second cooldown is kind of nuts. And they have also increased the damage of Dazzling Offensive by 20 in the early game, but scaling down to nothing in the late game, so mainly just an early game damage buff for Amaterasu's ultimate, which I think is fine. It doesn't particularly hit amazingly hard. Obviously, it has the utility of like long duration CC immunity and stun, but yeah, I did feel like it was doing relatively low damage, so some pretty significant Amaterasu buffs there. I do think she could probably use them. It'd be nice to see her come back into the meta a little bit. I think she's a fun character to play and to play against. But yeah, there you go. That is the 11.8 bonus balance notes. Nothing too crazy, honestly. Just a couple of small nerfs to top performers, a couple of buffs to gods that are underperforming a little bit, and Horrific Emblem is honestly probably one of the bigger changes of the patch because supports love rushing that. But yeah, there you go. That's the 11.8 bonus notes. I will catch you guys tomorrow for the Smite 2 alpha notes, which is going to be really cool. That'll be much more exciting than these, but hopefully you enjoyed my coverage of this one. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll catch you guys for another one tomorrow. Peace.